best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
What should you ask for? You know, if you go online, there's going to be a Kelley Blue Book. Everybody knows what that is. You Google used car prices, and you're going to come up with a Kelley Blue Book. You're going to come up with an Edmunds book and also an NADA. Now, we use something a little bit different in the Pensacola area. We use an official NADA guidebook, which is not available on the internet. This is the same books the bankers, credit unions, insurance companies use. So it's a kind of important book that'll tell you how much a banker would loan on a particular car. A lot of times they also insert their opinion that the book value is actually what the value of the car is, and that is not necessarily true. Bankers really don't buy and sell cars for a living. Car dealerships do, and I think that's why you call a car dealership if you need some advice on what a car should be worth. And we're unbiased. When you call Frontier Motors and you are pricing a particular car, if you find one at another car dealership, for example, don't tell us what they're asking. Just give us the information, and what we're going to do is we're going to use that information to run a report on that car. One of the things, the reports that we run is the Carfax report. Everybody is familiar with that. So if you give us the ID number of the car, which is 17-digit ID number, it's on the door of the car, and it's also on the dashboard, we can scan that ID number, or we can type it in, and it will give us the history of that car through Carfax and through AutoCheck. We have both of the largest history providers in the U.S. available to you, the general public, at no charge. If you go online to do this, to run both reports would cost you about $65. We do this for you at no charge. Also have a program which is called Dealer Socket. It's called the Price Driver program. It also tells me what that particular car is selling for in our area. My computer defaults to within 150 miles. I can make that 300 miles, 500 miles. I can go nationwide if you have an exotic car. We had a customer the other day that came in and wanted to put his Rolls Royce on consignment. So I went out 150 miles to see what they're selling for. Well, there's not one available. I went out 500. There's not one available. So I went nationwide, and I found out that only 4 of them in this model year, in this particular make of car, was available in the whole nation. But it gave me an idea of what those were selling for, so that if we price this particular car, we would not price it too high, or we wouldn't price it too low. We'd price it right in the middle. And that's one of the things, again, this is advice that I'm talking about to make sure that you're not asking too much. One of the things that I've got actually a full-time buyer, and what they do is they go through Craigslist, they go through eBay, they go through Cars.com, they go through AutoTrader, finding private individuals that are selling their cars. And because we love to buy from private individuals, because we get to take a look at the car before we buy it. That's one of the bad things about buying at an auction, is you don't get a lot of inspection time. Now, the good thing about the auctions is they guarantee their cars, so you don't get a bad car. But the bad thing is you're not test driving them. There's not a lot of things that you're doing to these cars other than bidding on them. When I buy from a private individual, they bring me the car. I can test drive it. I can get it inspected. I can smell the inside of it. There's a lot of things I can do when I buy from a private individual. So we talk about buying cars from private individuals, but it's so interesting that when we see these cars advertised by private individuals, they're almost always priced too high. So where are they getting this? Well, a lot of times they're using the Kelley Blue Book. And the Kelley Blue Book in our area sometimes is priced too high over what reality is. If I can buy a car, for example, at the auction for $20,000, I can market that car even after paying expenses and auction fees and shipping and buyer fees and setup fees. I can market that car for around $23,000 and make a profit. Well, if the Kelley Blue Book is booking it out at $26,000 and that's what you're going to use, the reason I know this is because a lot of times on Craigslist, for example, I see the pictures and one of the of the vehicle that the person is selling, and one of the pictures is a picture of the Kelley Blue Book. They put it online. They take a picture of it. It says it's $26,000, so they're asking $26,000. Well, if I can sell that car for $23,000, you're overpricing it. Now, the only way you're going to know is to call us at Frontier Motors, give us the description of the car, and let us book it out for you, reality. And again, that's one of the reasons that we just do the show here, because we do this at Frontier Motors also, not just the TV/radio show. At Frontier Motors, we open at 8:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock. We've got 4 sales managers there. And what they do is they field all the questions that come in on a daily basis. There's usually about 15 to 20 calls a day that we get from customers that have heard the show that have questions about what they should be paying for a particular car, what their trade-in might be worth if they go decide to buy a brand new car. Also, what should they pay for a brand new car? And one of the things that we use is the new car cost guides, which we subscribe to. And it tells me what a dealer pays for a particular car. And that way I know what I can tell you you should be paying. Because if I know what the dealer paid, give them a small or a moderate profit so they can stay in business, but not waste a lot of your time where you're making ridiculous offers. When I got in the car business when I was about 15 years old, we worked at a Chevrolet dealership. I started selling cars when I was 19 years old. The markup on a Caprice, for example, was 25%. So if you had a $10,000 Caprice, the dealer cost was $7,500. That same car now, well, they don't make the Caprice anymore, but they still make the Impala. That same car now in an Impala has about a 6% markup. And what I'm getting at, folks, is that the days of the huge discount are over with. And you're going to find this out when you go to car dealerships, that you're going to see that the discounts are smaller and smaller. And I don't know if you've been to a car dealership lately. I have. I've been, as a matter of fact, I go on Sunday to Car City and look at all the cars because I'm a car nut. So I go look at window stickers, I compare, and I look. I'm surprising to see the amount of dealerships in Car City that have an addendum next to the window sticker. It's a small little addendum. It's about 2 inches, and it's as long as the window. Almost looks like part of the window sticker, but they tape it to the window sticker, and it's called a dealer markup. And what these dealers are doing is they're putting, some of them call it a remarketing adjustment. I don't know what that really means, but they'll add $2,500 for remarketing adjustment. Some dealers, there's one franchise dealership in Car City that puts a $1,900 dealer markup, but they call it some kind of a customer satisfaction package, which includes things like key lockout, almost like a AAA, which probably costs them $100, but they mark it up to $1,900. And that they throw in the pinstriping, they throw in the paint protection, the leather treatment, the fabric protection. And I'll tell you, folks, the reason they do this is because people still want a deal on a car. They still want a discount. Well, when the car is only marked up sometimes as little as 5%, you can't get a big discount. So the reason they're doing this is they're jacking up the price of their cars so they can offer you a discount. Or if you've got a trade-in and you want a certain dollar amount for your trade-in, the only way they can give you more money than what they think the trade-in is worth is by jacking up the price of the car. That's why it gets a little bit confusing when you go to car dealers. People never know, what am I really getting for my trade-in? And that's why I always tell you that if you are going to be buying a brand new car, try to separate the trade-in from the transaction. In other words, come to Frontier Motors and I'll give you a buy bid on your car. Let's say it's $20,000. And then go to the dealership of your choice, negotiate the best possible price. You can even tell them without lying that you have a buyer for your trade-in, which would be Frontier Motors. And then the last minute, you can always say, oh, by the way, if I do decide to trade, what would you give me? This is after they've discounted the car, maybe taken that addendum sticker off, maybe given you a $2,000 rebate, where you feel that you're getting a fair price on the car that they're selling. And then you toss the keys to them and say, by the way, go ahead and give me a value on my car. Now, if they come back and tell you $17,000, what are you going to say? You're going to say, no way, that's not going to work. I'm not even doing business with these guys at Frontier Motors because I want to buy a brand new car. They told me they'll give me $20,000 for my car. You're only giving me $17,000. I'm trying to buy something from you. You should be giving me $21,000 for my car. When you're buying something from someone, I think they should give you more than what the strange dealership is that you're not buying anything from. Now, sometimes what happens when you come to Frontier Motors, while we are giving you that buy bid, which takes about 15 minutes, you start looking at our lot and you run across, let's say you're thinking of buying a brand new let's take a look here. Let's say you're thinking about buying a brand new Lexus ES350, and while we're test driving your older Lexus to give you an idea of what it's really worth, you see the 2018 ES350 that I have on our lot, that has 692 miles on it. And now what's the next question? Well, I'm thinking about buying an ES350. Well, how much can you sell yours for? Next thing you know, we're telling them a bottom line, and you can use that information to go compare it to the Lexus dealership in Mobile to see how much more theirs is. I know what Consumers Report says. Consumers Report said the first time ever they put this into writing. I've got a little graph here they came out with last April. They said the average selling price of a car last year was $34,000. And the average first year depreciation in 1 year was $9,200. Now, a Lexus like the one I'm talking about is about $45,000. So if you take that first year depreciation, which is 27%, by the way, comes in at closer to $14,000. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to save all that money, because obviously I have to put a markup on the car and make a profit. And I have to pay the shipping, get it there, and I have to set it up. But the bottom line is what you need to get from the new car dealer. And if I tell you I can sell you my car for $35,000 and give you $20,000 for yours, that's a $15,000 balance. And the taxes, title, and fees, let's say that's $2,000. So you're $17,000 out the door with everything included at Frontier Motors. Doesn't that make it easy to go over to the other dealer and ask their bottom line with everything included? If their bottom line with everything included is $25,000 and I'm $17,000, it's an easy decision to make. Do I buy one with 600 miles on it and save $8,000? Or do I buy a brand new one with 20 miles on it and pay $8,000 more? And don't forget, when you have $8,000 more, your taxes also change a little bit. That's one of the things, when we're talking about, always stop at Frontier Motors before you sign the dotted line. It only takes minutes. It only takes minutes for us to give you that free advice. And our job is not to talk you out of buying somewhere else, even though we'd love you to buy from us. Our job is to make a friend, number one, to help you, number two, knowing that if we help you get a deal, the next time somebody asks, where should I go to buy a car? You're going to recommend the dealer that helped you get the deal, not the dealer that sold you the car. We know that we don't sell every car in town. Matter of fact, last year we had almost a record year. They sold 17.2 million cars. The year before was a record at 17.5 million new cars. 17.2 million new cars were sold. And I'm happy about that. People say, well, why would you be happy that they had such a good new car year? Well, one reason is because how do I get a used car if somebody doesn't buy the new one? Somebody has to buy the new car. I just don't want it to be you. Because if you buy that new car, like this Lexus with 600 miles, you're going to lose your butt. I got a Hyundai Santa Fe with 300 miles. We have a Nissan Frontier with 200 miles, a Toyota Camry with 200 miles, a Ford Focus with 200 miles, a Honda HR-V with 200 miles, a Ram 1500 pickup truck with 160 miles on it. We have a Buick Encore with 100 miles. We have a Chevy Trax small SUV with 76 miles. Just to give you an example of the type of used cars that we have on the lot, these cars are like brand new, and we have 100 of these that have less than 10,000 miles. Another 100 that have less than 30,000 miles that are still under factory warranty, that would save you thousands and thousands of dollars over a brand new one because of the huge depreciation. Like I said, Consumer Report says the first year depreciation is $9,200. The second year, if you keep the car for 2 years and you buy a car brand new, you lose $12,600. If you keep it for 3 years, you lose $15,500. If you buy a car brand new and you keep it for 4 years, you lose $19,000, which is 56% of the value. Why does anybody buy new? I have no clue. It must be because they're making too much money. It must be because of this economy is really good. It must be because maybe you won that $1.6 billion, whoever that was. I wish I'd stop at Frontier Motors and buy my Rolls Royce. But I'm giving you all kinds of reasons why perhaps you might buy a new car. And we want people to buy new cars, like I said before. I want to buy these cars. People change their mind. People would say, well, how do you get a car with 100 miles on it? It doesn't really matter to me how those 100 miles put on. It's just the fact that I get them when I buy these cars. These are cars I'm buying at auctions. And the auction guarantees the car. Because people they're always nervous. How do you get a car with 250 miles on? What happened with that car? Did it fall off the truck or something? Well, the auction guarantees it. And they have to announce paint work. Like in case, let's say the car was completely hail damaged and they had to repaint the whole car. That has to be announced. If the car was keyed up and down a brand new car, maybe some guys at night came and keyed all the cars in the lot. I've seen this happen before. Or shot out all the windows. They fix them, take it to the auctions. All that has to be told to the next owner. And the light will come on and say, this is the reason. Now, they guarantee the car has no flood damage. It's not a lemon law buyback. It's not going to be a total loss or a salvage title car. And that's why I like buying at the auction, because I am protected that I'm not getting a bad car. These cars are under factory warranty. These cars are titled cars, which means I have to sell them as used cars. Even the Chevy Trax I have with 76 miles, that is a used Chevy Trax because I am not a Chevy franchise. Pete Moore, Sandy Sansing would get very mad at me if I told them I am selling brand new Chevrolets because I'm not. This is a used car. But the reason I'm doing this advertisement is to give you the option of perhaps finding out how much you can save by buying a car that's like new, but it's not. That's one of the things you have to live with. Now, the Chevy Trax I have, for example, is white. Well, what if you don't want a white one? Boom, I'm out. You're going to go buy a brand new one. That's why people buy brand new cars, because they can get exactly what they want. If you want a blue car with a tan interior, you can go there, and my color might be different. So sometimes you compromise on the color of the car, or maybe some equipment on the car, to save thousands and thousands of dollars. And those are the people that I'm talking to right now. The people that are looking for a deal, the people that really don't want to buy a brand new car. And what happens a lot of times is people buy a brand new car, they change their mind. In the car business, people have a tendency to think, I don't want to say in the car business, but I've had this happen before where people think they have a 3-day rescission. Let's say you go to a brand new car dealership in Car City, and you drive the car and you say, oh my God, I can't afford this car. And the salesman says, yes, you can. We can lease you this car, and instead of the payments being $600 a month, they're only $350. You say, well, I can afford $350. Next thing you sign it, next thing you know, you come back 2 days later thinking, well, I want to get my money back. I changed my mind. I shouldn't have really done this. My wife is really mad at me. And then they say, well, you don't have a 3-day rescission. The 3-day rescission rule is when you go off the dealer's lot. If a dealer's selling a car at the mall, you have 3 days to back out. But if you go to a car dealership, you have no days to back out. Once you sign that bottom line, you are an owner. Whether it's a finance contract or whether you write a check, that is your car. You can bring it back the next day and they can tell you, forget about it. It's your car. I'm not taking the car back just because you changed your mind or just because you had what they call buyer's remorse. And that happens a lot of times because that new car smell sucks you in. If you're not sure, don't sign anything. If you're not sure, stop in at Frontier Motors. And let us give you some advice on what you should be paying for that car and what you should be getting for yours to make sure that you're not paying too much. And we might send you back there and say, hey, you know what? The price they're giving you is actually a really good deal. Or I might say, well, I got one on lot and I can't save you $9,000. I can only save you $3,000. We sold a Toyota about 6 months ago. We only saved the customer 200 miles. Now, this Toyota had like 50 miles on it. It was a Corolla. And we didn't save him $7,000. We saved him $2,000 over the price of a new one because they actually had a pretty good deal on a new one. But our deal was even better. And the out-the-door price was $2,000 less. And the guy said, I'll buy yours. I like the color. I like the car. It was only 2 months old, so he lost 2 months of warranty, but he saved $2,000. Now, last month, we had a customer come in. They bought a Cadillac CT6. If you don't know what that is, that's Cadillac's flagship car. This is a beautiful, beautiful car. I was shocked that the window sticker was $88,000 on this car. I didn't know this when I bought it. I bought the car with 12,000 miles on it. We sold it the other day for $44,000. It had 12,000 miles on it. I think if you do the math, that's 50% depreciation. Now, that's extreme. I love using that as an example. And that's an extreme example of depreciation. But the gentleman bought that car and got rid of it with 12,000 miles and lost $44,000. The guy that bought that is still smiling. He's driving an 88,000-mile car that's still under factory warranty, and he paid $44,000. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money, folks. The more expensive the car, the bigger depreciation. I've talked about the Rolls Royce. I've got a Rolls Royce on the lot. Depreciation in 3,000 miles was $200,000. 3,000 miles on it. The depreciation on that car was 200,000 miles. Again, extreme. So we go from the small savings of $2,000 on a Corolla to a huge savings of 50% on a 12,000-mile Cadillac. But the whole thing, and I think you're getting the gist of this, is that when you are ready, you stop at a Frontier Motors. Now, why else would you stop at a Frontier Motors? Well, one reason is to get the free advice that I talk about. But the other reason is to see if we can help you when you're ready. And you never know when you might be ready. You could be driving down the road right now and you get broadsided by a car. All of a sudden, you are in the market. You didn't think you'd be in the market. This morning, I talked to a gentleman that I play basketball with, and he said, I'm going to keep my car he has a 4Runner. And I know a 4Runner can last 500,000 miles. He says, I'm keeping that car for another 12 years. So he's no reason to listen to what a good car, bad car is. But if he gets broadside tomorrow morning, he's going to find himself in the car market 12 years earlier than he thought. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. You never know. But I'm getting the word out that when you are in the market, you call us. When that car gets totaled, don't settle with the insurance company until you call us. We have the books that tell you what the NADA retail is. We also give you reality. Because sometimes the books are low. If you're driving an older Jeep Wrangler and the book says the vehicle is worth $6,500 and that car gets totaled, you better not use the book value because that car is worth way more than $6,500. And sometimes it's the opposite. Or if they're paying you book value, they're really doing good because I can sell a car under book value sometimes. So that's called replacement value, which we help you with. We're one of the only dealerships that I know of that will give you that value and sign it, almost like an official appraisal, so you can take it to the insurance company and make sure they don't undervalue the car. If the car, if you should be getting $20,000 from the car and they're trying to sell you with 17, don't do that. You get in writing an official appraisal from Frontier Motors. The other thing is, what if your car gets hit today? And I see this happen. I saw this happen the other day with a lease. Very, very important, folks, if you're going to lease a car. It's called diminished value. What happens if you lease a $50,000 car and you've got this car for about 5 months and somebody broadsides you the car and the car's got $30,000 worth of damage? And they fix it because you have good insurance. You take it back to the leasing company 3 years later. They run a Carfax and said this car had major damage. And they were suing the person that was leasing this car because the value of that car had been compromised by $5,000. So they're suing the leasee for $5,000 because what they do is when you're done with the lease, you know where those cars go? They go to the auction. Well, what happens at the auction? Every auction runs a Carfax report. If you've had major damage on your car, they put their red light on. That doesn't mean somebody won't buy it, but they're going to buy that car $5,000 less. And they were suing that customer because their lease car that they were turning in had been fixed properly, but the value has now been diminished by $5,000, so they were being sued. So read the fine print. Now, what if you own that car? Same thing. What if you buy a brand new Corvette? You go to Sandy Sansing or Pete Moore, buy a brand new Corvette for $80,000. Somebody hits you and there's $30,000 worth of damage. The airbags were deployed. The vehicle had to be towed. That's going to go on the history report. Now, let's say a year later you come to Frontier Motors and you want to trade in that car, or go to the Chevy dealer that you bought it and you want to trade in that car. They're going to a Carfax report and say, hey, wait a minute, this car's been in a major accident. Oh, yeah, got fixed really good, but who's going to buy this car? The only person that's going to buy this car is the person that is going to get a deal on the car. And therefore, you need that diminished value. So get that diminished value in writing at Frontier Motors. We'll take a little bit of time with you. We'll look at the damage that you had on the estimate, and we will give you our opinion of what this is not a percentage or a book or anything in writing. I mean, we'll put it in writing for you, but it's not something I'm getting out of a book. This is our opinion of what we would appraise a car for after a major accident. And every once in a while, which happened, I think it's been about a year and a half ago, a lady brought me a 5 Series BMW, had about $16,000 worth of damage, got it fixed. We gave her a letter of, I think it was $5,000 diminished value. She got the extra $5,000 from the insurance company. She immediately put the car on consignment at Frontier Motors after it was fixed. I believe she had it fixed at Sandy Sansing BMW. You couldn't even tell. They did such a good job. This car was like brand new, but yet it showed on the history report major damage. So we marketed the car $5,000 less than what it should have been marketed for because she dropped the price $5,000 because she got the money from the insurance company. We sold that car like in a week and a half to 2 weeks because the person that bought it knew they were getting a deal. They got it inspected. They said that was a great repair job. Matter of fact, all the parts were brand new parts. This car was like 2 years old, had brand new parts on it, and had a warranty with the car. It was still in a factory warranty. So they bought the car, but they got a bargain on it. So I'm not telling you not to buy a car that's been in an accident. I'm just saying make sure you get a deal on it. And if you don't get a deal on it, then buy one without an accident. At Frontier Motors, we put the history reports in the glove box of every car. This morning, we had 385 cars sitting at the lot at 230 Beverly Parkway with another 20 to 30 coming in. So about 410 cars we have available. And the nice thing about coming and shopping at Frontier Motors, folks, is we don't really have to sell you a car. We kind of joke about it that our customers pick out a car, because we sell every make and model. It's almost like going to a car show. And if you're thinking about buying a mid-size SUV and you're really not sure what you want, you'd have to go to 6 or 7 dealerships to test drive 6 or 7 cars. It kind of becomes a pain in the butt because they're all going to try to get your information. They're all going to want to sell you a car, and they're all going to want to sell you a car right then and there. You know how that feeling is, how uncomfortable it is when you say, I'm just looking, I'm not ready because I haven't looked at everything yet. And they're not even lying, but come on, what if I do this? Will you buy it today? What if I get you this payment? Will you buy it today? What if I give you this much for your car? Will you buy it today? These are all questions that they're trying to throw at you to get you to buy today because they're afraid when you walk out, you won't come back. So they do all the things, all the tactics that they can think of to get you to convince you to buy a car. And that's where that buyer's remorse comes from, because these guys are really good. They go to school. They learn how to, so to speak, close a deal. We don't do that at Frontier Motors, folks. We make it very easy for you. We let you test drive the vehicle. We give you a bottom line price in writing. You don't have to pry it out. Like, well, how much you want? We don't ask stupid questions like, what do you want your payments to be? What we're going to do is give you a bottom line price. If you're going to finance it, we're going to say, with good credit, here's what your payments are going to be. And we'll let you think about it. That's kind of unheard of. And the reason we can do this is because we are so confident in our pricing and our car that even if you go shop, you're going to be back. Even if our car is not the best price, it's going to be the best deal. What I mean by that is, what if our car is $1,000 more than competition, but we've got $3,000 more equipment? And I'll give you a prime example. I was driving a Lexus, down my Lexus I've been driving out here. I think I showed it to you. It's a $106,000 car.
Yeah.
We were marketing it for $85,000 the other day. Customer said, I found one Lexus Mobile for $82,000. So basically, and it had less miles on it. We had 9,000 miles. He found one with 2,000 miles. So that car was $3,000 less expensive. And of course, he was using that information to get us to drop our price.
Right.
I said, wait a minute, let me look at that car. So I pulled up the car, and I found out that we had $12,000 more equipment for $3,000 more. Mm-hmm. He ended up buying our car. He saw the light. We had a performance package. We had heads-up display. We had a blind spot. We had all the cameras all the way around, which the other car. We had 21-inch wheels. All the other car didn't have that. So he ended up paying us $3,000. So we weren't the cheapest car, but we were the best deal because he got $12,000 of equipment for $3,000 more. And that made sense. We weren't bamboozling him. They actually did, because I compared car for car. The other car didn't have the equipment on. So, folks, it's not always about the price. It's about the best deal. What if our car had half the miles that the other car had? What if our car was in much better condition than the other car? And you don't see that in pictures, folks. There's so many customers that I see that I'm going to go to Miami and buy a car because they got one for $1,500 less. They fly down to Miami 2 weeks later, come back, they buy our car. What happened? Well, it really wasn't nice. It actually smelled really bad when I opened the door because there was a bad smokers, and they put the new air cleaner in there and all the foo-foo juice, and it didn't matter. It still stunk. So I'm going to buy your car. So it's not always about the price, folks. It's about equipment. It's about safety equipment. It's about condition. Frontier Motors, we only got a couple of minutes left, folks, so enough about Frontier Motors other than where we're located. I guess it's never enough about Frontier Motors because that's what we do here on this radio show.
Right.
We talk about Frontier Motors. But we also, like I said when I started the show, I also want everybody to know that the advice that we give is free. It's unbiased. We will help you purchase a car, even if it's somewhere else, even if it's some private individual. We just want to make sure you get a good deal. That way you're going to recommend us when you're ready. We know that if you buy a car tomorrow, it's not the last car you're ever going to buy. Some people might keep their car for 10 years. The average right now is 11 years. But some people trade every 3 or 4 years. And we will be here in 3 or 4 years. That's what our goal is. Check us out on Facebook. I'm recording the show. It's a half-an-hour show. So if you want to watch the show or if you want to recommend it to somebody's in the car market, go to Facebook, type in Frontier Motors. We'll pop up. We've got about 5 or 6 shows, actually some more on there. We redo the show every 2 weeks. Go to our website, frontiermotorsinc.com. We've got a Facebook page also. We've just recently started putting all of our inventory on the Facebook page and all of our customer pictures. And also everything that we talk about here will be on our Facebook page. So thanks for listening, folks, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
For the best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.